Hello and welcome to My Man the Maker. Well, the inevitable has happened, and the counter doors are starting to fall out. I kind of had a feeling this was going to start happening when I looked at them as I removed them to do the work on the plumbing for the dishwasher. So the big question here is, and it's always the top hinge that gets loose because of the weight of the door, and you'll notice that the doors sag over time. So this door has got quite a large gap on the frame at the bottom, and that gap gets progressively smaller as you move to the top. So that's quite a big difference, maybe 1/4 of an inch, and that's 5 millimeters, 4. That's a problem when you have multiple doors hanging because they look weird sitting side by side. Now this one I can probably tweak a little bit by playing with the hinges. So I'm going to try and make this door straight as I can. But what are we going to do about this? The particle board underneath the finish is completely destroyed. So I think I'm going to use chopsticks and white glue to rebuild that area. So what you do is you soak a chopstick tip in white glue and then you whack it into that hole with a hammer. Let it set and fill any remaining gaps that may exist with a toothpick, also dipped in white glue. Just let it set overnight, and then you cut it off with a utility knife, re-drill your pilot holes, rehang your door based upon the bottom. The bottoms almost never drift, it's always the top. I think because of the pivot point. So that's what's going to go on with this particular door. The other ones are also not hanging all that straight, but this is the one that just fell out. So it needs emergency fixing. We can try and tweak and tune these doors another day, but this one won't even hang anymore, so we have to really get this one back into service as soon as possible. So I'm just going to use some white glue and some chopsticks and a hammer, put that in there, and then get to work on some other aspects of the kitchen while the glue dries, and then take a look at it tomorrow and see if it needs any further remediation. So that's what's going on here with the cabinet door falling off. Always, what do they say? Never boring, these older houses. Never boring, which is good because I get bored easily. Alright, checking out now. The next thing you'll see is me just setting the chopstick in the hole with glue. Okay, chopsticks are set. I just cut off a couple inches from the end of the type of chopsticks you get when you order Chinese takeout. So that's a good excuse for you to order some Chinese takeout, I imagine. And ask for an extra set of chopsticks, and then you'll always be ready to fix broken screw holes. Let's dab a little white glue on the ends, whack them in with a hammer, and if you want, wait a day, which is what I'm going to do. And then you snip off the excess with a pair of diagonal cutters or a utility knife, whatever you've got around. A kitchen knife, a serrated kitchen knife will do nicely. And probe in there, see if there's any, because often the holes aren't round. Once these cabinet doors go, when they leave rather violently, and they leave an irregularly shaped hole behind. So if you can jam toothpicks around in there and you have the time and the patience, I recommend you do that. I've had some other friends use a drill, and what they do is they drill it out round and they stick a dowel in there, which is basically what this is. But I find that this method works pretty good, so I'm pretty happy with it. The dowel will get you a perfectly round hole with a larger diameter drill bit. I just don't have any dowel material. I've got chopsticks, and they were about the same diameter as the screws that came out, so I just used them. Most people can get their hands on chopsticks and not mess around with dowels. You have to buy dowel in a length of like 4 or 8 feet. I just don't see the point of buying 8 feet of dowel to use 4 inches off the end. But hey, each to his own. If you want to go ahead and use a large diameter drill bit, like 12 millimeters would probably be fine. Then, or I suppose a ½ inch would be okay. And then you get a ½ inch dowel and you do exactly what I did here, just with all that stuff. And you can get dowel in various different materials. You don't have to use bamboo like you do with chopsticks. You can get dowel material in all kinds of different woods if you're trying to match to something. But this is, under a kitchen counter behind a hinge, so I'm not too worried about using select materials. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn my attention to other projects in the kitchen while these set up and dry. I'll give it a full 24 hours to dry up real nice, because I'm not in a huge rush. I mean, the kitchen's still usable, it's just that there's a door missing. And then tomorrow I will see if there's any additional remediation with toothpicks required. If not, then I'm just going to rehang the door, and I'll of course record that event. So until then, see ya.
I hope you liked this video. If you did, please consider subscribing, giving me a like, and leaving me a comment. I really enjoy making these videos, and I want to know from you how I can make them better. The whole point of these videos is to demonstrate that if I can do something, you can do it too. Well, that's it for now. So long, and remember, keep making.